Hello and welcome once again to the Owatonna Today Show. I am your host today, Betty Johnson, and it is Wednesday, the 12th of June, and we are getting toward the middle of the month. We do thank you for joining us, and as always, we can be seen on Charter Channel 8 6 days a week, so you have lots of opportunities to check out the Owatonna Today Show. Plus, we're out there in cyberspace on the internet. Just go to YouTube and enter the Owatonna Today Show and the date for a particular program. You can also find us on blip.tv.com, and we're on Facebook. You upload us or friend us, and you will receive a direct link to the new show on your Facebook page each time we have one. And we do have welcome any comments, questions, ideas, thoughts that you may have for guests or any kind of programming. Please let our producer, Leanne, know. You can do it two ways, via email at owatonatoday@charter.net, or you can give her a call at 390-5751. A great show, as always, in store for us today. We have with us as our first guest, Detective Tom Munns, who's going to talk about different kinds of fraud, including senior fraud, which is always nice to know as much as we can about that and learn what is happening. And then even though it's the middle of June, you're probably just getting planting started now, we have the plant ladies along with some great ideas for kids. So please stay with us. We're going to take this break, and then we'll come back with Detective Tom Munns.
Hello, I'm Sean McNulty.
And I'm Deb Gillard with Brookdale Senior Living, Sterling House, and Clarebridge of Owatonna.
And we are a proud sponsor of the Owatonna Today Show.
I needed more than just another dead-end job. I wanted a career, so I expressed myself.
With the kids off to college, I decided it was time for me to go back to work and express myself.
Express got me in touch with some really great companies. Now, I'm on my way to a great career.
Express Employment Professionals is in contact with thousands of companies in need of quality employees. Come in now and get the job you deserve.
Express yourself today.
Hi, I'm Dr. Beth Giltvet of Horizon Eye Care Professionals. Eye care you can trust. We're proud supporters of Owatonna Today.
We have Detective Tom Munns with us from the Law Enforcement Center. Good morning, Tom. Glad to have you along.
Thanks.
Now, you work primarily, you are a detective. What are the different areas that you work on? What's your main areas?
My main focus, or my primary focus, is typically fraud, identity theft, things like that. I also work pretty much anything. Our unit is pretty diversified. Nobody sticks with any one certain crime, but that's more my area where I've had the majority of my training.
Very prevalent?
Unfortunately, yes. When you look at the different types of identity theft with people stealing people's identity, credit card fraud.
That's so scary because it happens so easy and you don't even realize, what can be done. What, we hear it all the time, but are there any other new areas, or let's review what people can do to help protect their identity? I mean, there's different places out there that, will advertise, we can help you protect your identity and subscribe to this. Is that worthwhile?
It depends on the person. I tell people that if you're somebody that that's going to worry a lot, it may be worth the investment to give you that sense of security. But really, anybody can take care of most of those things themselves. It's just a matter of being cognizant of your financial records. Don't leave your mail in the mailbox. That's one of the biggest things now, is people stealing people's mail. When they're paying their bills, they're stealing that, and they can wash those checks pretty easily. They can wash the ink off and change who it's addressed to.
Very simple thing to do.
Very simple, yes. And pretty prevalent in this time.
And, one thing that I had experience with not too long ago, I forgot what it was, and they wanted the last 4 digits of my Social Security number. Said, no, sorry, no, thank you. Well, even opening a charge someplace, they wanted my Social Security. I said, no. I'm too nervous about that to give it out.
And that's the key thing. If they're asking for that information, ask them how they intend to protect your information. What are their procedures for protecting your information, and how they're going to
protect it?
Yeah.
Well, these were clerks that probably say, we have all kinds of different methods of doing that, and that it does not make me feel secure in that.
Right. And if you're not secure, then don't give the information.
And I didn't. And I thought, what is it? A charge place need your Social Security number?
It's pretty rare that I would give that information. I have to, if I've established the contact with the people, and they're a reputable business, and I know what they're going to do with that information. But you're right, they shouldn't need that information to to establish a credit card
Even
account.
our credit card numbers you give about on the phone for a lot of things when you order stuff. They want your credit card number. How do they go from there if well, I will say I was down south this winter and I went to use my credit card and it was denied because someone had hacked into a grocery store that I had used and stolen a lot of numbers in that respect. So we had to get a new credit card issued.
Yeah. And anymore, you'll notice that a lot of the credit card companies are taking more responsibility to protect that. If you are, all of a sudden you're down in Florida and you haven't been down there before, your credit card isn't used there, a lot of times it will get declined initially, or the credit card company will contact you to find out if these are legitimate charges or if you need to get that credit card canceled.
That does help in that respect. But what are some more of the easier ways, and seniors in particular are easy targets, aren't they?
Seniors are easy targets, but really anybody can be. That's one of the misnomers. I think people focus on it being senior fraud, and I think that's somewhat misleading. I mean, we can all become victims of this. These people are professionals. That's what they do, is they con people, and they know the things to say, whether you're a college kid or whether you're a retired senior.
What are some of those frauds that are showing up in Owatonna?
The biggest ones that we see, or the most common ones we see, again, are the mail being stolen from the mailbox, and that's the identity theft. There's a lot of, and it's very prevalent all over the United States, the lottery winnings. They're sending you notification that you've won this massive amount of money, but in order to collect it, you have to pay the taxes or you have to pay some type of filing fee in advance, and they're wanting you to send a cashier's check or a MoneyGram to pay those fees up front, and then you'll never see the money.
That's very clever.
Yeah,
because
it is.
people, you think you won the lottery. That's something everyone would love to do.
But the key is, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Yeah, and and one of the key things to ask yourself, if you've been notified that you won the lottery, did you enter the lottery?
Well, that's my first thought. But you have sweepstakes, so people could think of it in that respect too. You have sweepstakes winners.
But you just have to ask yourself some questions and verify the information before you get it out. Another one that's common that is more focused on seniors is, and we've had more than one victim just in the city of Owatonna, they get calls from somebody stating that it's their grandson. I'm up in Canada on a fishing trip, I'm ice fishing, and I got arrested for fishing without a license or something like that, and I needed to send $10,000 bail. And they don't want to notify mom because they don't want mom to worry. Well,
trouble.
Yeah, but you need to think twice before sending that money. Do some things to verify. In this day and age, most of our grandkids, especially, have a cell phone with them all the time.
Exactly. Yeah.
Say okay and call the cell phone number back, and chances are you're going to get your grandson.
Call the cell phone number back. Yes, I know some people probably wouldn't think of that. They think, "Oh my goodness, I want to help you out," and that's as they can
and they
work.
send the money. The other thing that you can do is ask them what agency has them in custody, and then hang up the phone. And if you're internet savvy, you can find a number for that agency, call information. Or if you're just plain puzzled, call law enforcement. Before we would rather come to your house. We'll do some investigation for you. We'll help you make those phone calls before you're sending money out. Because
lots of times, what I have heard, they've been almost out of the country. It hasn't been, in a neighboring town.
Correct. The bulk of them are in a neighboring country, and that's the sense of urgency that they use on the
I didn't, the thing is, too, to stop and think, I didn't hear that you were going to be going over there. I would have known that if you were going to be out of the country.
Right.
And that is, would be a grandparent. It would be someone, of course, with young kids.
Yep.
What about other frauds you said now that wouldn't be just focused at seniors besides identity theft? One
of the ones that's really on the increase anymore is for those people that are staying in hotels, or if you stay in hotels often. What will happen is your phone will ring in your motel room at, say, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. And they'll say that, when you checked in, we ran your credit card. Unfortunately, the information isn't coming back. We think we made an error. Can you read us that credit card number now? Well, it's not the front desk calling. It's somebody from outside the hotel.
Okay.
They're preying on the fact that they've woken you up. And then if the person says, well, can I bring it down in the morning? No, our records run through, our system backs up at 3 o'clock, so we have to have it now.
Sounds totally legit.
Yep, and if you're tired, why wouldn't you? Especially, and that's one, too, that can happen if, you're a young couple like myself and you've got kids. Well, I don't want to leave my kids in the room to run down there with a credit card. Yes, I'll just give it over the phone.
That is, yes.
So.
But would you find that probably more in the bigger hotels or the smaller chains? I mean,
It can be anywhere. It can happen, and Owatonna is a small community, but we're getting more and more larger hotel chains. And again, I want to clarify that the hotel has nothing to do with it. It's other persons that are hacking into their phone bank and can get in there.
Yes, also they hack into the hotel's phone banks. I was just going to say, how would they know?
And they call the random room numbers. Yep.
Okay, that is, and there's always something. And are you aware of those simply and not until somebody reports it here, or is there like a network that says, this is the latest scam that's coming out?
Yeah, I actually go to BBB, Better Business Bureau's website, and the other one that's really good is FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, and that's ftc.gov. I look at those, plus I subscribe to their things, so I get emails from them all the time.
And that's something we can do ourselves, go to the Better Business Bureau.
And those are the things that if you educate yourself that way, then you don't need to pay for the identity theft insurance and stuff like that. And just monitor your accounts online. A lot of people are concerned about putting that information out on the internet. They're worried about that, but the reality is you have immediate access, and rather than waiting a month for your statements, you can get on there and look at your accounts on a daily basis, and you see when something's going on.
It has its good points, but it also has the negative, and we have so much more fraud because of that. Is most of the fraud have to do with technology?
I wouldn't say that necessarily. I think it's easier to get information out there. It's easier to contact people. It's easier to find my information or your information with computers in this day and age, as opposed to, pre-computers, pre-internet, where you had to do the manual searches to find the information. Now it's out there.
Of course, we hear people go through garbage, hence the need for shredders. So. We have about a minute left, Tom. Is there something that you want to touch on that we have not covered? Basically?
Yeah, jumping away from fraud a little bit, one of the things I wanted to talk about is, currently there's the national campaign for if you see something, say something, and it's geared towards terrorism, but we also want to get that information out just in general to the citizens of Owatonna. We recently had damage in a park, and because somebody called in, was witnessing it, and directed officers right to them, we're able to apprehend those people and take care of that. Whereas if the person doesn't call, we find the damage. And it's the same thing with people stealing from mailboxes, stealing theft mail out of mailboxes.
Well,
that's where we get the information.
Being a good neighbor and being a good citizen, basically, if you see something, that's not right.
And people worry that they're bothering the police, and they're not. Let us make that decision.
Okay.
We'll come out and we'll prioritize the call. We'll get there.
That's good to know. Let you make the decision.
Yep.
So, well, as always, it is so interesting to have you around, Tom. We need to know all
Thank
pertinent, important information. Anything new develops, we hope you'll come back and keep us informed.
Gladly.
Up to date.
Thanks.
We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to be talking with the plant ladies.
I'm Diane Wilson of Profinium Financial, the bank that helps you achieve your financial dreams. Profinium Financial is proud to be a supporter of the Owatonna Today Show.
Everyone deserves opportunities to have a good life, a quality education that leads to a stable job, enough income to support a family through retirement, and good health. But the reality is, many children fall behind, many families are struggling, and many others are in poor health. United Way's goal is to find long-term solutions. Thanks to a grant from the Otto Bremer Foundation, we're hosting community conversations this year to address these issues. If you'd like to join us, please call our office.
Hi, I'm Rick Smith, Golf Course Superintendent of the Brooktree Golf Course. Brooktree is an 18-hole championship golf course featuring well-manicured greens, tees, and fairways. We are open to the public. I challenge you to find a better maintained golf course for the money we charge here at Brooktree. Come on out and play Brooktree, a great golf course.
Hi, this is Dr. Amy Swain, and I want everyone to hear better. At Amy Swain Hearing Centers, we offer many different brands of hearing instruments because everyone has a different lifestyle. Let me, Dr. Amy Swain, help you find the best hearing device for your hearing needs at Amy Swain Hearing Centers of Owatonna, Austin, and Waseca. Call 1-800-804-3361 for an appointment today, or visit my website at www.amyswainhearingcenters.com. because you deserve to hear better.
Hi, I'm Brenda with the Mortgage Office of Brenda Bednar, aligned with American Mortgage and Equity Consultants, where closings feel right from the beginning. I'm a proud supporter of the Owatonna Today Show.
On location now at the Thiede resident, where if you've been, avid viewers of the show, they have great gardens, and we're going to talk gardens. Eventually the weather will cooperate. We have master gardeners with us, Verna Thiede and Lorrie Rugg. Hello, ladies.
Good morning.
It is cloudy, but the sun's going to come out eventually. So one of the things we do want to talk about is we're all grandmothers, as a lot of our viewers are our grandparents. Gardening, people do things with kids, and they probably are always looking for extra stuff they can do, especially if you're a gardener. And you have some wonderful ideas for little gardens to plant for little kids, especially if you have granddaughters. This is an idea that I think is just, just super terrific. Why don't you tell us about it, Verna? There's little figurines here. So this is called
We call it a fairy garden. For our grandson, we use gnomes. And for granddaughters, we do use fairies. But there's just a host of other things you can incorporate into these gardens. And these are leftover succulents from the fairy garden last year, and we're going to utilize some of those. But it's a good way to get them exposed to working with plants. So try to find small plants. I have a few of those here. A little container of shorter plants, blooming things, something that looks like a tree or shrub, little succulents.
So not just all succulents?
Nope, don't have to. But to add color or to add different heights.
And what about your vessel? What kind of a container?
Use anything that's handy. It doesn't have to be real deep in order to incorporate these things, just enough to accommodate the root system of your plants. Last year we started with grandma's containers, great grandma's containers, actually.
Oh, wonderful.
Bread pan and just a pot that we just make sure that it has drainage.
And it's got a good area surface too. You
Right,
get a lot
but
in that.
this isn't big enough, so we're going to go bigger this year.
Okay.
I actually have my radish box here, as it's called.
And what is this?
That is a broken pot.
But that looks like a
ends
little...
up to be a good house. It
Yes.
was my toad house, but I think it would work for fairy garden as well. Just take, little clay pot you can tip on its side for where the fairies could hide, or your gnomes, whichever you're doing.
And it's not hard to find fairies. They're very popular these days.
All kids love stones.
Yes.
Any little trinkets. We go for a walk in the woods a lot because we're close to the trail. Our grandson brought home an old bicycle reflector. It adds color, and it
Well, they're little treasures. They find their little treasures. You can incorporate them in there. You've got the toadstools in that. And now something like this, you leave outside or you bring inside?
The plants would be the only things that most of them, are actually annuals. And yes, I brought the succulents in. If you want to put them into the ground, if it's a perennial, that a lot of your ground covers are perennials. So if you put them where they're protected, dig them into the ground and then protect them.
If you have an area like with an overhang by your house, if you don't have a pot and you wanted to put... Because I can see some little girls and boys getting carried away with, little logs and stuff and hiding the gnomes and the fairies. And you could just use your imagination and really have a lot of fun.
Yeah, utilize the ground if you have the space. I mean, which kid doesn't like to play in the dirt? It's a good way to get their
and they get
hands
to
dirty.
see something grow. They go and see Grandma's garden of probably the vegetables, but something like this that they can incorporate other little things.
And they can change things, move it around, let them do whatever.
And you can go shopping at any store that has plants will have these accessories as well too, if you want the extra ones.
One other thing to use that I have here on the bargain trays at your big box stores. These are tiles. They make perfect little sidewalks, that type of thing. Or you could make a little building out of it. Just anything like that. I mean, let them and you use your imagination and just use whatever you have around. It's fun to go out. I go to a lot of garden centers, obviously, so it's fun to pick up a few other things, but
and they can shop and put their favorite fairies or whatever they have in there.
Exactly.
So now, how did you come up with this idea?
Well, I've always been interested in little things, and when the whole fairy garden thing got started, I just thought it would be really fun for me and for our grandkids. So
Well, and you have kind
Just
of
experiment.
a fantasy land here anyway, when everything's blooming and growing and that too, so that works real well. Now, for people, Lorrie, you have found a book who, when their grandkids, or even on a rainy day when they're home from school with mom and dad and things like that, things to do with kids. And you have found a book that is just a great idea that ties in with this.
Yep, it's called Toads and Cottages and Shooting Stars. The author is Sharon Lovejoy, and I bought it on Amazon.com. And I have a 5-year-old grandson, and of course he likes to dig in the dirt, and I thought I need to teach him about gardening. So I got this book, and it's come up with a lot of ideas that maybe I hadn't thought about for a while. One being get a mason jar and catch fireflies.
We all do that as kids,
you know, and let them look at that and see how they, maintain their coloring inside. The other thing I found an article about how to do a little puddle for butterflies. And I don't know if you've ever heard the term butterflies like to puddle.
No, I have not heard that.
So you get a shallow dish. I just have a saucer here. Put a little sand in the bottom. Keep it wet sand because they like that wet. Put a stone in it so that they can land on the stone because butterflies don't always they like to have something hard to land on.
Okay.
And then I even in here it even mentioned dribble a little bit of maple syrup across it because that's for their sugar. And the article said make sure that they keep it wet. So what kids don't like to play in water.
Right.
So that can be something that they can do too.
But the wet sand attracts them.
Yep. You put a little dirt on the bottom and then a little sand on top of that.
Would the maple syrup attract squirrels?
Well, it probably would attract a lot of things, but
a lot of those squirrels
ants,
in
there, bees, whatever.
Maybe
But
high enough, but
they like that. The butterflies need that sugar.
I guess I'm surprised because you'd think you'd want a lot of flowers to attract more butterflies, but something simple.
Yep.
Like
and it
that.
has to be low in the garden, so don't put it up here.
Low.
You
Okay.
just kind of nestle it in with your plants and things in your garden. They like that kind of thing. Another idea that I read that I thought was really clever. We all have dandelions this time of year, so go out and collect the dandelions that have fuzzed already. Put them in a mason jar with the lid on and tell your grandkids those are for special times when they get a reward or a treat. They can take a dandelion stem out and blow the dandelion fuzz all over. Not in your yard probably, but what kid doesn't like to blow the dandelion fuzz around. So that's another something that you can do with. It's not going to cost you a lot of money, but your grandkids are going to love it.
Simple little things like that because
just the birds are singing now. Just walk outside and just tell them be still and listen to the birds.
And try to identify which birds
Watch
are what.
the bees pollinate flowers or bees get nectar out of things. Watch hummingbirds.
Even a bird bath.
Yep. Watch them
attracts.
take a bath.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you can see. Yeah, they get right there and they shake and this and that.
Because Rogan loves to be outside, so we have to invent things to be outside with, other than just play with toys. And there's so many things outside for toys that they can use.
Now this year too, with all the moisture we had, I'm sure your gardens are probably getting kind of a late start.
Absolutely.
When it does start to get sunny and warm, is there something you can do to kind of edge them along and try to catch up?
Hopefully it'll be warm as well because the ground temperature is things just aren't growing because it's not warm. Not only are we not seeing sun, it's not warm either.
And that's the problem. Yes. Yeah. Now when you was talking about the planting with kids, do you use fertilizers with chemicals and things like that, or just go straight organic?
I try not to, and I know Verna's along that same train. Unless I have to, I really don't like to. Another little tip that I read in this book was use old twisted forks, kitchen forks, for your kids to use outside. And you make little tunnels and little rows to plant your carrot seeds or lettuce seeds because they're tiny little seeds. And they have tiny little hands, but the forks are tinier for their hands.
Or even like meat serving forks too. They're a little bit wider to get wider rows.
Spoons. Who doesn't play with spoons outside? I mean, I did as a kid. Didn't have shovels and rakes like you do now. So.
Or as we talked about, we made mud pies. Have your garden outside, and you can do your mud pies decorating around there with that too. They're just so any ways you can use to be creative. Well, unfortunately, we are getting low on time. Is there something that you'd like to talk about we haven't covered yet? We want to make sure we can get everything covered here.
Just a thanks to everybody that came to our plant sale last Saturday. We had a very successful plant sale and raised a lot of money for our master gardeners, so now we can keep continuing our programming. So thanks to everybody that bought plants.
If we can get them outside, yes.
Yep, exactly.
We just have to think positive, and it'll be that way.
Yeah,
so,
sunshine. Yep.
Well, Verna, thank you for hosting us today.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you, Lorrie, our master gardeners here at the Thiede residence, and I have a wonderful time. I know I can't wait. I've got 2 little granddaughters that would love to do a fairy garden. So we hope you have learned something and can take advantage of some of these great tips. So we're going to take a break, and then we'll come back with more on the Owatonna Today Show.
Hi, I'm Mike.
And I'm Jake with Napa Auto Parts.
Napa has the know-how for all your automotive needs.
Napa is a proud supporter of the Owatonna Today Show.
Did you know that it is illegal in the city of Owatonna to host or allow a gathering where minors will be consuming alcoholic beverages on your property or in your residence? Did you know that it is illegal to provide minors with alcohol unless they are your own kids in your own home? Underage drinking leads to increased risk of future chemical dependency, engaging in more serious criminal activity, and becoming a victim of a crime. Please help keep our kids and our community safe by not encouraging, hosting, or allowing underage drinking. This is a message from the Owatonna Police Department and the Safe and Drug-Free Coalition of Steele County.
We are back, and do want to remind you, coming up in just a few days is the Harry Wenger Marching Band Festival. A lot of fun, great performances, very entertaining, especially for the kids and grandkids. It's going to start, they have 3 play zones, as Kim Cousins was telling us last week, where they have actual performances. And he gave us a hint that you probably should be on the right-hand side of the street as you're looking north, because that's where they play to. Their first play zone is going to be by Trinity Church between University and Phelps, and then just a couple blocks later they're going to be between School and Academy by the old Pillsbury College, and then downtown where they have food vendors. There'll be the judging area, and not too far from Central Park. So if you want to be down there, it's a bigger area and you can see more. And they'll start at 11 o'clock, so you may want to get out there a couple hours before and put your blanket or chairs down and make sure you have a comfortable seat. We don't know what the weather's going to be. Hopefully it'll hold out and be decent for that. Also coming up the week after, June 19th through the 22nd, we've been talking about it a lot. I'm sure you've been hearing about the Minnesota Senior Games, a great event to have in Owatonna. Lots of athletes, lots of different sports, but it takes manpower to put that on, and they still do need some volunteers just to kind of help people sign in at different events. So if you'd like some more information about that, or you can call Senior Place and ask them, I'd like to volunteer, and where do you need some help? You don't have to be a senior for that, of course. So give Senior Place a call and find out more information about the Senior Olympics. And then the movie in the park is going to be coming up Friday, June 21st, and if it rains, they'll have it the next night on the 22nd, the Saturday. It starts at 9:05, but there will be pre-movie activities for the family at 8:30 in Central Park. And, of course, there will be pop and popcorn and concessions for you to enjoy as well. And the movie will be Surf's Up, and it's an animated feature. And don't forget the Meals of Hope. It's a community meal for anyone that may need a hot meal. It's going to be served Sunday evenings from 5 until 6:30 at Trinity Church. For more information, you can phone 451-5240. Again, that is at Trinity Lutheran Church. Or if you need a ride, you can call them as well for that. And that is every Sunday. And that is some of the latest events we have going on around Owatonna. If you have some information you'd like to pass along, please feel free to contact Leanne Alt, our producer, and you can get that on the air as well. Have yourself a good Wednesday. We hope to see you back here on Friday. I am Betty Johnson. Thanks for joining us.